on Saturday afternoon. An overtime win for the Pokes, and so much drama up and down the standings in the Big 12. If the Big 12 tournament were to be held tomorrow, we would get Bedlam Chapter 3, as the Sooners and Cowboys would be on target to face each other in Kansas City as well. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Bob Wischusen and Fran Fraschilla. And Fran, we knew we were going to get a duel from two of the best in the Big 12 in Austin Reeves and Cade Cunningham. I'm not sure any of us, though, expected Saturday afternoon to be as good as it was.
Well, and Bob, he's been as good as advertised all season as freshman. By the end of the season, he'll have more hardware than your Home Depot store. And he can do it all. He showed it on Saturday with the 40 points, the 11 rebounds. He's a great passer. He has a sense for the moment, but he's not the only 40-point scorer in Big 12 play this season. Austin Reeves dropped 40 against TCU in December, and he carries his team much the way that Cade Cunningham carries the Cowboys.
Oklahoma had a bad loss last Tuesday against Kansas State. Back that up with the overtime loss in the rivalry game against Oklahoma State. So the Sooners want to get back on track. And for the Pokes, back-to-back big-time wins. Not only to win the rivalry game against OU, Fran, but they backed up a win against Texas Tech as well. Back-to-back overtime victories for Oklahoma State. So they're feeling it right now, and it is the right time of year to be playing your best basketball.
No doubt one of the hottest teams in the Big 12. They started 1-3, Bob. Keep that in mind. One thing about Cade is he's getting started earlier and earlier in games. Nice pass.
And he sets up Caleb Boone for the game's first points.
He's 6'8", Bob, so depending on how you guard him in pick and roll, whether you trap him or hard hedge him, he can still see over the trap.
The X factor might be Brady Manek, not only for tonight, but for any hopes Oklahoma has down the stretch to get his complimentary scoring back to Austin Reeves, who tries a step-back three here. That hit the backboard first. There is Manek, though, setting up Davion Harmon, who hits the triple, and that gives OU the early lead.
Well, Davion Harmon is playing great basketball off the ball this year as a two-guard. He's been red hot lately.
Nice cut to the goal, a beautiful find as Rondell Walker lays it in off the assist from Cunningham.
This is a young Cowboy basketball team, one of the youngest in the country.
That's a big one early for Manek.
No question, Bob. He was 10 of 40 since he's come back from his COVID break, and we're talking a guy who in his career shoots nearly 40% behind the arc.
Lon Kruger in his 10th year at OU, and talking to him yesterday, Fran, he was trying to keep in perspective a home loss to Oklahoma State in overtime, but I think he knows he needs some more production from a couple of guys, in particular Manek, if they're going to have the end of the year that they're hoping for.
There's no doubt, Bob, this team is a surprise. Remember what they did in late January and early February, and you got to make those if you're Austin Reeves. He gets to the basket easily.
Snatching the rebound away in traffic and wrapping a pass around is Walker, and he sets up Boone.
How about Caleb Boone? Last 8 games, he's shooting 70% from the field. Only a sophomore. 5 of their top 6 scorers are underclassmen.
Floater from Harmon crawls over the front of the rim.
How about this, Bob? This kid in his last 12 games is shooting 64% inside the arc. He has been red hot getting to the basket. Good example right there.
Boone has it stripped away. It will stay with Oklahoma State. And Fran, Mike Boynton might have been a little bit of a risky hire when he was promoted to be the head coach at Oklahoma State, but you've made this point over and over again. He was more than just the right hire.
Well, he was like a lottery pick, really. He didn't have the experience of like hiring a senior, you know, or drafting a senior. He had lottery pick talent, and Mike Holder saw it, and Mike Holder said his interview process was the entire year he was an assistant coach, just the way he carried himself on a daily basis. He's
without ice
breaking
likely
out
again tonight.
Yep. We saw him last Monday run that right hand into the basket stanchion. By the way, I love the orange jacket being worn by Mike Boynton tonight. You see that wrap around?
Harkless to Manek. Beautifully done.
Good. Yes, they went to a little zone there, and on Saturday when they went zone to keep Reeves from driving, Harkless was effective in that high paint area. Good find inside.
Boone left alone at the free throw line, knocks it down.
One of the things we'll be watching tonight, Bob, is each coach has a game plan. The other coach will adjust, and then the key is who is going to adjust to the adjustment. And that's a good sign.
2 for 2.
We know Brady Manek's confidence was shaken after sitting out for 2 games, and this is really welcome if you're a Sooner fan.
Manek now defending Caleb Boone. He muscles his way to the goal with the left hand, soft touch. Hot shooting start both ways. Oklahoma 5 of 7. Oklahoma State 5 for 8. Reeves connects.
Yeah, they switched the big guy out on him. Well, Bob, what they did was, we saw this Saturday, you saw it with Dick. When they switched the bigs onto Reeves, he's really a problem because of his ability to shoot it or drive it.
Difference on the scoreboard so far is the three-point shooting game. Oklahoma 4 for their first 5 from behind the arc, and Oklahoma State has yet to hit a triple. An early 6-point lead for Oklahoma, trying to bounce back and get their own Bedlam Road win. ESPN. Oklahoma State is a brand new baseball stadium, and they happen to be playing a home game. And in the 9th inning, when into Stillwater, the basketball bus pulled in on Saturday evening. And Mike Boynton brought the team out into the outfield to wave to the fans as all those Pokes fans watched an overtime win in Bedlam Chapter 1. And what a performance by Cade Cunningham in that game. 40 points, 10 in overtime, 11 rebounds, and they said it was a really fun and wild scene when all the baseball fans got a chance to celebrate the return of the basketball team.
Yep, and Mike Boynton has made sure, as coach of the Cowboys, that his players, in state and out, appreciate what this rivalry means to both universities and the people of the state of Oklahoma. And Cade Cunningham talked about that after the game, Bob, how important it was to get that win on the road.
Avery Anderson, that's way short, and it's saved underneath by Harkless. In and out for Gibson for D. Anderson will attack, little Euro step crossover, and he ends up in the stanchion.
Boy, how about his end-to-end speed? The sophomore from Justin, Texas, who has really improved this year, probably as much as any player in the Big 12. Some of the people around this program say that he may be the second most important player on that roster, and that's a high compliment, Bob, given that last year he was lost, and he has really matured as a sophomore.
Why? What improvement have you seen? I mean, I guess they always say, right, the best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores. Is it that simple?
Well, yes. Well, I think it's yes. In terms of experience, for sure, he's a better shooter. Remember, he was 2 for 26 behind the arc last year. And using his speed, this is kind of counterintuitive, but the game has slowed down for him. He's not running people over. He's channeling that speed even better because of the experience.
Harkless with a step back. That's off the heel.
Harkless has the same assignment he had on Saturday. He actually didn't do a bad job. Cade just hit some really tough shots.
Anderson uses the screen into the corner, and that's a front rim, a little bit short for Farron Flavors.
of switching out front right now. Let's see if Harmon can find a mismatch.
Manek to the corner, deflected pass, still ends up with Umoja Gibson with the shot clock winding down. So it will stay with OU as it's knocked out by Rondell Walker. Now, the building obviously not nearly at capacity, but the portion of fans that are allowed into Gallagher-Iba Arena, they're a factor. I mean, there's an atmosphere in this building, as there was a bit of an atmosphere in Norman on Saturday as well.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yep.
Davion Harmon lays it in.
Boy, is he playing well. Remember what they did? They took him off the point guard spot so Reeves could run the show. And all Davion has to worry right now about it, for this year anyway, is score the ball. And he's doing it really efficiently.
Fancy dribble by Anderson, and he draws the foul.
Last 11 games, 15 points a game and 65% inside the arc. We know he can bang the three ball, but he gave up that point guard position in a sense to share it with Reeves, and it really has paid off for Oklahoma this year.
Cunningham leans in. Drop.
You saw that Saturday, Bob. 14 free throws, 40 points, but very efficient. I think he took 21 shots, but he got himself to the foul line.
Talking with Mike Boynton earlier today, we were talking about whether or not they chart all their shots, and obviously from an analytics standpoint, every team does. And I asked him, did you feel like Cade Cunningham took a bad shot in a 40-point game? He said, well, really? I don't know that Cade could take a bad shot, right? I mean, he's that good. Pretty much any shot he puts up has a chance to go in, but he seemed to love, even in a 40-point game, how he was just in the flow with all of his teammates and never forced it.
Yeah, there's no question. And what I like about Cade Cunningham, and I said this earlier in the year, I felt he had to get himself involved earlier in games. And over the last few games, the sense of urgency of him leaving in a month is paying off, I believe.
Another good look from Manek. Jalen Hill did not score in Bedlam Chapter 1, so he'll go to the free throw line to try and get in the box score for the first time. Farron Flavors picked up the foul. And we have a rare and incredible Super Tuesday triple header for you tomorrow on ESPN and the app. We'll start at 5 Eastern with two teams in the top 6. Baylor meets West Virginia. Then number 2 Michigan hosts number 4 Illinois. And then at 9 we cap it off with Kentucky Ole Miss. A Super Tuesday triple header tomorrow beginning at 5 Eastern right here on ESPN.
Yeah, we got some game in Morgantown tomorrow, Bob, and we talked to Scott Drew last night, and people have said to me, when are they going to get back to being Baylor? And I said, quite frankly, who knows? I mean, this is 8 players had the virus, so who knows how they'll recover. I don't know if they'll get back to where they were in those first 18 games.
Held ball will keep it, or give it to Oklahoma rather, but yeah, you're right. It was 3 weeks that basically Baylor was unable to do much of anything. And you talked about the individual impact that a pause had on Brady Manek. He hasn't been himself for quite a while, although off to a great start tonight. How about if you were to expand that impact out basically to an entire team? And that's what Baylor is going through right now.
Exactly. They played the other night in Quicksand. Take nothing away from Kansas, who's playing their best basketball at the end of the year. Bill Self has done a great job in February. But I think anybody who's watched Baylor all season would say that's not the team we've seen, in the first 18 games. And the interesting thing is, the mystery is, when will they get it back? We'll find out starting tomorrow.
Even if they get it back, there's no guarantee it's going to go your way in Morgantown.
That's right.
Step back by Anderson. Won't go. Tipped around and pulled down by Harmon.
Good start for the Cowboys on the road. Crisp.
try to hand off. And he's going to have to chase down the loose ball, and does. Only 11 on the shot clock as Davion Harmon is hounded by Bryce Williams. Down to 5 to shoot. Harmon's going to have to put one up. He gets caught, gets it out to Hill on the way. Moncrief attacks the rim, comes up short, but draws the foul. Well, Cade Cunningham with a 40-point performance on Saturday afternoon. Is he the no doubt about it #1 pick? And who's his NBA comp? We'll talk about that next.
Who will Cade Cunningham be like at the next level? I love comps, and there's been so many so far. Let's just throw Grant Hill in the mix, the 3rd pick back in, what was it, 94, I believe. Passing, playmaking ability to score as well. Both 6'8". Grant a little bit more athletic. Cade maybe a little bit better in terms of his vision and passing. But as you talk to people around the NBA, the guys I talk to, everybody's got, it's a Penny Hardaway, it's a Luka Doncic, Grant Hill comes to mind. It doesn't really matter. This kid will make his mark on the league based on his own skills. Take a look. Cade Cunningham, one of 3 freshmen in the history of this league, going back to 1996, to drop 40 in a game. You saw it Saturday, Bob. I mean, how about Michael Beasley? 3 times.
It's a ball, and Cunningham takes it away. Finds a trailer in Anderson. Anderson leans in and draws the foul. And Fran, the last time that we had an Oklahoma State game, obviously every game Cade Cunningham plays in, the topic of the NBA draft comes up. And is he the #1 pick? And your take then was it was cloudy. You know, Jalen Suggs. There were some other names that could conceivably be the #1 pick with the way that he has played of late. And when you have a 40-point game with that kind of a stage and that kind of an audience on Saturday afternoon, has he now, in your mind, elevated to the no doubt about it #1 spot?
Yeah, I think so, Bob, because he's the safest of the 5. Let me just remind you, there are 5 really good players at the top of this draft. We've mentioned them. Suggs and Mobley, and then Jalen Green and Kuminga that are playing in the G League. But Cade is safe because of his size, his skill level, his ability to shoot it, playmaking. And I'm not part of the NBA draft industrial complex. That's why I don't like to say in November automatically the #1 pick. But what he's done for me is I've watched him practice a lot and also play in these games. And in big games, Bob, that's been the most impressive thing. Not the shooting, but his ability to close out games. He did it at Wichita State. He's done it in the Big 12 this year. You saw it on Saturday.
Well, he's going to have to start scoring some points in this game to keep up with Brady Manek. And now Anderson simply fumbles the ball out of bounds. And for Brady Manek, we talked about him. He must have felt over the last 2 or 3 weeks like he was shooting the ball at a teacup. And now tonight he is 3 for his first 3 from 3-point land.
Yep, and remember, he hit that big one late in the game that when we talked to Lon Kruger, he said, well, maybe that shot could get it going. But those numbers don't lie. And there's no question, according to Lon Kruger, he was ravaged by the COVID virus.
And now he plays playmaker and finds Gibson on a backdoor cut. The goaltending stretches Oklahoma's lead to 9.
Little Larry Bird right here. We've seen him knock down the 3-ball, and Brady Manek, young man from Harrah, Oklahoma, the senior. Take a look right here. Bird-like with the shooting and the passing tonight. And a really good start, Bob, for the Sooners. You would expect that after Saturday's loss, they would come out ready to play, and they have.
A 3-point shooter is fouled as Alondes Williams clipped Rondell Walker, and Rondell Walker will shoot 3.
Lon Kruger, let's see why he was upset. Did he kick his leg out? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that Alondes Williams clipped him. Let's take another look right here. Watch the right leg. I don't think so. If it did, he came late, but that's what Lon Kruger was concerned about. This season, they will call that a charge on the offensive player if there's a lot of contact. Brooks Wells felt not enough right there. Lon Kruger tried to make his case.
Rondell Walker, who played AAU with Cade Cunningham the summer before his senior year of high school, and ends up in Stillwater as Cade Cunningham's teammate. And Rondell Walker has a chance to put together a really special Oklahoma State career.
Oh, no question, Bob. These freshmen, Walker and Moncrief, particularly Anderson and Boone as sophomores, Keelan Boone as well. This is a nice nucleus for Mike Boynton as Cade departs after this year.
Hill too strong. Bryce Williams races the other way. Throws up a wild one that finds its way in.
Circus shot right there by the junior college transfer. Little zone now by the Cowboys. They really mix and match those defenses.
Manek, boy, that one looked good. That's his first miss from three-point land. He's now 3 for 4, but that one was about halfway down. Williams down the lane with the left hand, draws the foul.
Now let's take a look at Bryce Williams, the transfer from Ole Miss. He's got 1 year left, and you see right here, watch him throw that hook shot. That is a circus shot. I'm not sure that's one he works on every day, but give the young man from Tampa credit. The reason he is at Oklahoma State, he was coached in junior college by Eric Pastrana, the assistant coach at Oklahoma State. When he decided to leave Ole Miss last year, they had a spot for him here, and he's fit right in.
Harmon and Harkless back in for OU. That foul, by the way, was on Alondas Williams. So he picked up 2 fouls in the last 3 trips down the floor.
Oh, just
sloppy play in the backcourt. Harkless pulled the string. Reeves gets the timeout and saves the possession for the Sooners lead. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Come right back to Bedlam. Fran Fraschilla, Big Monday, Bedlam Chapter 2. And Fran, 52 hours after Bedlam Chapter 1, you always wonder about adjustments. Have you seen any so far tonight from Oklahoma State?
Couple things. Oklahoma State is doing what they did at the end of your game that you called on Saturday, a little bit more mixing and matching the zones, because Austin Reeves really gave them problems in man-to-man getting downhill. For the Cowboys, offensively, Oklahoma is trapping Cade Cunningham on some of those pick and rolls, but he sees over the whole court, so it hasn't been effective yet. It's about adjusting to the adjustments. Great coaches do that.
Manek comes up well short of the post.
And Harkless still on Cunningham. They're going to try to keep him from getting into gaps.
Field goal.
Lon Kruger told us yesterday, Bob, they would try to shrink the floor a little more on Cunningham's drives.
Bryce Williams comes up just a little bit short. Saved in the corner by Rondell Walker. Boone sets the screen, rolls to the goal, and steps on the end line.
Oklahoma's last few possessions have been very sloppy. They're fortunate to still have the lead. And you'll see Bryce Williams is a junkyard dog defender on Reeves right now. And they're going to a zone, and there's Harkless in the middle. Let's see if they attack it.
Davion Harmon missed just about everything. And it looks like an offensive foul is going to be called on Caleb Boone as he was charging down the lane. 5-point lead for Oklahoma, trying to pull off a road win of their own in Bedlam on Big Monday.
By design.
You know, it was early in the year, Seth, no question. Lately, he's been more aggressive, but to your point, tonight, a little bit more passive, letting the game come to him. I think he's got to start to get it going soon.
And you can see from Joe Lunardi's bracketology as Harkless goes backdoor, and he will go to the free throw line. Another nice play made by Brady Manek in the passing game. but only dropping one spot from the number 2 to number 3 overall seed is Baylor, still comfortably on the 1 line. And of course, that Super Tuesday triple header tomorrow, Fran, you and I will have the privilege of calling Baylor against West Virginia. So that would be a 1 seed against a 2 seed if it was the NCAA tournament tomorrow.
Exactly, Bob. And listen, I think the committee will weigh in favorably on Baylor. It's hard for me to imagine they won't be a number 1 seed regardless of what happens this week. They've got a tough road. Tuesday, Oklahoma State. Thursday in Waco. I'm going to go to that game as a fan. And then Saturday, Texas Tech, I believe. Remember, Baylor has not won a conference championship in 71 years. And they can do it with a win or a West Virginia loss anytime this week. See how they're crowding Cade on the post-ups.
Moncrief shies away from Manick, kicks it back outside for a 3 from Bryce Williams.
Well, he knocked down 4 of those on Saturday. He can shoot it. Good contest by Reeves. He got there a step late.
That's finally the first 3 made by Oklahoma State. Oklahoma's got 5 triples already here in the first half. And a foul called on Williams.
And Williams has done a good job of harassing Austin Reeves, who I think is a shoo-in to be first team All Big 12 this year.
Davion Harmon, a little sloppy with the dribble, now picks it up with 5 to shoot, gets it back, and he'll put up a 3. Brady Manick was trying for a back tap, and instead it looks like he may have drawn a foul.
Let's go back, Bob, and watch the harassment now by Oklahoma State. You see the double team on the pick and roll. Watch the lane. You see those black jerseys. Everybody's crowding in the paint. Elijah Harkless, who is their version. You look at that. Look at the sandwiching inside. Elijah Harkless is the Sooners' version of Marcus Garrett. The transfer from Northridge has really given them a huge lift this season. That's a charge. Oh, boy.
Instead, it's called a block. Keith Kimball tags Austin Reeves with the foul. That's his 2nd.
Look to me that Reeves got there. Let's take a look. I think he's legal. Remember, once he establishes 2 feet on the ground, which he has right there, to me, that is a charge. Now, it's a bang-bang play, goes either way. To me, that's a charge. Austin Reeves, bad break. And I think he thinks so too. And remember, Bob, you are allowed, once you establish legal guarding position, to slide sideways or obliquely. I'm not sure what obliquely means, but I know what sideways is. And I thought that they missed that call.
That was a triple word score. You just dropped on me there. I'm a little lost as well.
More importantly, that's his 2nd foul. So let's see if Lon Kruger rides with the senior. I would.
It was a 9-point lead for Oklahoma. It has now been erased by a 9-0 Oklahoma State run. Reeves will drive it here and throw it down, but it hits the back of the rim and caroms all the way out to midcourt. Saved by Manick as Reeves had a lane to the basket and couldn't finish the dunk.
Love the effort. He's got to be careful not to run anybody over.
He'll lean in and go to the free throw line to try and score 2. When he missed what looked like a really easy 2 when he went right down the lane.
Yeah, he wanted that one, especially after that call. He felt that he was wronged on. This kid reminds me, I'm trying to figure out, Bob, he's got some Matthew Dellavedova in him. You know, this is a guy that when he went to Wichita, he had been a point guard his whole life. The only problem was they had a kid there, and by the way, Austin Reeves' roommate his sophomore year, Landry Shamet. So Austin did anything he could to stay on the floor. He played off the ball. Lon Kruger this season moved him to the point guard, and it's really paid dividends for the Sooners.
Cunningham stepped out. Well, Fran, if I would have told you we would play the better part of 15 minutes here in the first half, and Cade Cunningham would have yet to have a field goal. After a 40-point game on Saturday afternoon, what would you think the score might be? And yet here's Oklahoma State still only down by 2.
It reminds me of what he did early in the year, where he really tried to get his teammates involved and then had huge second halves. And this is a kid, Bob, that averages about 6 or 7 in the first half, Cunningham, and 11 or more in the second half. A very sloppy offense by the Sooners. Look at this.
And Cunningham, it looks like he may have banked it off Davion Harmon out of bounds.
Great effort. And you're talking about a guy with a 7'2" wingspan, too. Watch him reach and knock that ball right off of Harmon. That is a great play right there. You know, individually, because he's not a great athlete by NBA standards, you know, to me, there's some lateral quickness issues, but he's a really smart off-ball defender.
Caleb Boone with the left hand, surrounded by 3 Sooners in the lane, and still made the catch and finished.
Well, he gets better and better. This is a kid that was offered a scholarship by Mike Boynton and his twin brother Keelan when they hadn't even played a varsity game at Tulsa Memorial. They were going into their junior year.
Manek. He knocks down another 3, his 4th in 5 tries.
Boy, this is welcome for Lon Kruger and that coaching staff and that team, for Brady Manek to be back on track.
If I'm Scott Drew, I'm watching Brady Manek play tonight going, I hope that looks like my whole team beginning tomorrow as Moncrief throws one down.
Boy, Bryce Williams has done a really good job of bothering Reeves.
Reeves can't convert down the lane. Here comes Cunningham. Still looking for his first basket. Decides to set up Walker in the corner.
You see Harmon co-piloting now.
Manek, heat check. That's an air ball.
See that crowd right there? Watch the jerseys. They're kind of lurking so he doesn't get to the basket easily.
There's a 3 that gives Oklahoma State the lead. Knocked down by Rondell Walker.
Did you notice Walker's man lurk in the lane to kind of crowd Cunningham? He waited and baited him and then kicked it out, and there's no way the defender could get back to Walker. Really good play right there.
Umoja Gibson threw it behind Manek. Bryce Williams, the floater won't go. Tapped around and back the other way. Comes OU. Gibson wide open for 3. That won't go. The tip follow missed by Manek, but he tipped it back to Harmon. He gets another. And his 3rd effort gets him to the line. Boy, Brady Manek looks like a completely different player tonight than he has for the last several weeks, much less Saturday afternoon. ESPN's exclusive presentation of...
Well, it's been a slow couple weeks for Brady Manek coming off the COVID virus. But tonight, he looks like the old Brady Manek, knocking down 4 threes, scoring inside, some assists. He now has 222 career threes as an Oklahoma Sooner. And this could not have come at a better time, Bob Wischusen, not only for tonight, but as this team goes forward. Because as you and I talk about often, this league, with 7 teams inside the top 20, all of these teams, I believe, can make noise in the NCAA tournament this year, including the Oklahoma Sooners when this guy's back on track.
Well, if Manek knocks this free throw down, it'll give him 15. 39 times in his career at Oklahoma, he has had 15 or more in a game, and Oklahoma is 30-9 in those 39 games. So he has always been kind of an as Brady Manek goes, so go the Sooners type player. And the fact that he's having this kind of a first half bodes really well, not only for Oklahoma tonight, Fran, I would think, but for the rest of their season.
Without a question. They have developed their bench. They go 9 deep, but the 2 guys that are keys for them, 3 really, Harmon, Reeves, and Manek.
Walker. That's over the backboard.
Yeah, good challenge that time. Remember, Reeves playing with 2. He's got to be really careful. But I love this, Bob. You know what? Lon Kruger's been around a while. Austin Reeves is a 50-year senior. He picked up his 2nd foul midway through the first half. And he's done exactly what you would expect from a veteran, high IQ guy. That is keep himself out of foul trouble. There's that little help, half trap and a half right there.
Eight on the shot clock. Harmon against Cunningham. Gives it up to Umoja Gibson. And he swoops down the lane.
Oh, that's a nice play because remember, he can really shoot the ball from 3. They chased him off the line, and the Waco youngster, who was not recruited by Baylor, gives them a basket and the lead. By the way, Baylor has pretty good guards, Bob. Just want to let you know.
Their depth chart at that position looks okay. A turnover for Oklahoma State. And Cunningham still without a field goal here in the first half after Saturday's 40-point performance. And yet Oklahoma State is right there, down by only 2. And Saturday, full day of college basketball across all of our networks, highlighted by these 2 key matchups on ESPN and the app. It's a Sonic blockbuster when Illinois takes on Ohio State at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and then Chapter 2 of Duke, North Carolina. Both games are Sonic blockbusters on Saturday afternoon and evening here on ESPN, and of course all our games available on the ESPN app.
And the Big 12 has got some great games this week. Remember, they ended the regular season on Saturday, but left that last week open for postponed games. And Bob, we got a great one tomorrow. There's some other good ones later in the week. Texas OU Thursday night, and the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City next week. I know you're as excited as I am.
Well, Fran, no one wants to hear us complain about our jobs. Who has it better than us? But how excited is our entire crew to get to go to Kansas City and see these teams play in person after watching them virtually the whole year. I mean, this might be the best Big 12 tournament in recent memory, and we get to be there. It's going to be a treat as Cunningham comes up with the loose ball. Walker swoops across the lane. That's rebounded by Manek. Avery Anderson tripped up at the opposite end, and he's playing with a limp now as Manek, tied up by Cunningham. Held ball, will give it to the Pokes.
Let's watch Avery Anderson retreating on defense, and let's see what happens right here. He's going to knock this ball away from Harmon, and then you see he steps on that right ankle. He rolls it a little bit, makes a great play. He's actually holding his knee, so let's hope that's not serious.
While they take a look at Avery Anderson, we'll step aside for 30 seconds. Avery Anderson with a little hitch in his giddy up. Good to see him stay on the floor as he awkwardly went to plant his foot back defending Davion Harmon, and it looked like he wanted to go one way and his knee went the other, and yet he has shaken it off. An important friend because they're already without Ice Likely for yet another game tonight.
Exactly, and he saved the basket, I believe, on that hustle play. He banks it in.
Banks it.
Oh my goodness.
Why not Keelan Boone?
Yeah. Who can play on the perimeter. He stretches the court. Not a great shooter this year.
Gibson from the wing. That won't go. And that will take us to halftime. So Cade Cunningham without a field goal in the first half. And yet Oklahoma State down by a point. Bedlam, Chapter 2. Stay tuned for the Jeep Halftime Report coming up after a short break.
Man, this looks...
You're watching ESPN's Road to Champ Week, presented by Wendy's. It is Big Monday here on ESPN, just about set for the start of the second half after Brady Manek lit it up for 16 in the first half. It's a 1-point lead for Oklahoma over Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham still looking for his first field goal. Bob Wischusen, Fran Fraschilla set for half number 2. And Fran, again, short turnaround from Saturday afternoon's overtime win and a 40-point performance for Cade Cunningham for Oklahoma State. You wondered what Lon Kruger would do to adjust tonight. He's obviously made some adjustments defensively that have worked.
Yeah, they have. He has seen a lot of black jerseys tonight, Cade Cunningham. Take a look. Remember all the room he had on Saturday. Tonight, the jerseys are everywhere. They're crowding him wherever he goes. Take a look. Now he's going to try to post up. Brady Manek backs off. 3 defenders around him, has to go the other way. Now, when he has the ball in his hands, Cade Cunningham is going to find his teammates. Take a look at the double team kick out, open 3. So don't worry about Cade Cunningham just yet, Bob. He's capable of going to get 20 in the second half. And Brady Manek is the story for Oklahoma. His return from COVID, best performance he's had in the last couple weeks.
If you're Mike Boynton and you know all of that attention is going to continue to flow Cade Cunningham's way, what are you doing to try and free him up just to get him some looks?
Well, I think he's got to do it on his own because at 6'8", he can often make defenders invisible, Bob. He did it on Saturday. He has to get more aggressive. Ironically, this season, as crazy as it sounds, the less shots he takes, the better this team is. But posting him up right now is what they're trying to do. But look where Manek is.
Rolling to the goal. And finishing with the left hand is Caleb Boone.
Now that basket happened for Boone because Manek helped off on Cunningham, so his teammates are picking up the slack.
Manek steps back. Cunningham, cross-court pass read by Davion Harmon. He finds Gibson in transition. That's short. And it's knocked out by Manek.
This is sort of the way Cade Cunningham approached the first part of the season. Don't force it. He's only taken 2 shots. Get your teammates involved, and then we've seen time and time again, Bob, where he will get more aggressive for his own offense. But that last basket was because of the amount of attention he got.
Avery Anderson, the floater, soft touch.
And that's another example. When you go and play Cunningham away from the ball that way, it becomes 4-on-4, and Avery Anderson continues to show us that he knows what to do when he gets into the painted area. Keep your eye on this matchup, Bob. Bryce Williams on Reeves. Look at this.
Just a sloppy pass as Reeves threw it a little too high, and Manek couldn't haul it in. That's the 8th Oklahoma turnover.
And give Mike Boynton credit because he's seeing Reeves more zone tonight. They pick him up man to man, but it really is a zone, and there's nowhere for him to drive it.
That looks like a moving screen is going to be called on Caleb Boone. That's his 3rd. He becomes the first player for either team with 3 fouls.
Watch this, Bob. Yep, see, you see Boone, his feet get wide, he can't do that, and then he reaches out, and as a sophomore now, he should know that. You see this zone, take a look, it's a 2-3 zone, and they're all over Reeves.
Harmon for the tie, in and out. Walker, stuffed by Manek. Boom, that's stripped away. Reeves has it for OU. And then he's fouled, a cheap one from Rondell Walker, who thought, I think, he was fouled when he lost his footing on the way to the basket on his drive.
Well, and I thought Brady Manek committed a foul here. Take a look, watch Walker. Now that's not a foul, but to me that is. And then they're always going to call that.
Rondell Walker picks one up. That's his 2nd.
Yeah, there's a lot of zone tonight from Mike Boynton.
Gibson knocks it down, and we're tied again.
That's the danger because Umoja Gibson can really light it up. Good job by Reeves. There was no Velcro on that pass to Reeves. He got rid of it quickly.
Boone at Manek with the left hand.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Bob. Good job of him pivoting away from pressure, and to make a left-handed jump hook like that is really well done. This young man continues to get better in the low post.
He stays perfect from the field. Davion Harmon a little bit short.
Go to work, big guy.
Once again, it's one-on-one. Boone looks diagonal in the corner. Walker. And Brady Manek pulls it down for Oklahoma.
Austin Reaves has not gotten near the paint tonight.
Sets up Harkless here. That hit the backboard first. Avery Anderson tries to cross over. A lot of contact, no call. Reaves goes down. Anderson lays it in. And we've got a flop warning. It looks like Keith Kimball is going to warn Reaves about flopping.
What happens there is they let the play finish. Take a look now. And that, I would call that a flop. But they let the play continue. Yeah, I think he flops. And then they lay it in, and then Keith Kimball will blow that whistle and give Austin Reaves the flop warning. The next flop on Oklahoma will be a technical foul. Lon Kruger doesn't agree.
Oklahoma State trailed by 10 at one point on Saturday. Found a way to win by 4 in overtime. This is their largest lead tonight by 4 as Manek cuts it down to 2. So you can see it's bedlam, right? I mean, that's how close you would expect these games would be played. As Bryce Williams is rebounded by Manek.
And Reaves took another shot, and they let it play on.
Davion Harmon breaks a streak of 5 consecutive misses.
Great basketball by Oklahoma because Reaves, as the co-pilot, took a mental health break in the corner. He's still rubbing his chin. Davion Harmon saw it, got downhill, got to the basket.
Avery Anderson again in close.
And Bryce Williams has done a great job on Reaves tonight. There's been less switching. You see, oh, that's good defense.
Harkless stepped on the sideline. An Oklahoma turnover. A 2-point lead for Oklahoma State, trying to win back-to-back Bedlam games.
Good coaches make an adjustment to the adjustment. On Saturday, Mike Boynton's team switched ball screens. The big was caught on Reaves. Take a look. He sizes up the big. He's going to try to get downhill, and that opens up the basket for Brady Manek. That ties the game. Tonight, the adjustment by Mike Boynton is on a ball screen. It looks like we'll switch it, but watch Williams get back in front. Here comes another ball screen. Are they switching it? Temporarily, but watch Williams work to get back in front. Manek's open. They run it, Manek, throw it to the corner. He steps out of bounds. Excellent adjustment by Mike Boynton. That is the game within the game tonight.
What if these two teams meet again in Kansas City? What would be the game within the game within the game, right? That'd be fun.
That's exactly right, Bob, and that's what great coaches do.
Cunningham still without a field goal. And yet his team leads by 2, coming up on 6 minutes gone by in the second half. Umoja Gibson down the lane, and it looks like he warded off and is called for an offensive foul.
Well, part of the reason that Gibson is driving tonight, normally a shooter, is that Austin Reaves has been rendered so far ineffective at getting to the lane because Boynton's adjustment has been to really do a good job of keeping that defender in front of Reaves.
Cunningham's doubled again. And the ball movement gets it to the front of the rim to Avery Anderson.
And see, Bob, there's another example right there. Cade Cunningham at 6'8", took on the double team and allowed his teammates to play 4-on-3. Really well done.
That's why he's one of the final 5 for the Cousy Award, right, Fran? Because he's just so unselfish. He's got that point guard mentality.
Well, he's affecting the game, and he's not scoring, Bob.
Reeves, 5 to shoot, spins down the lane, and it looks like he will draw the foul.
And that's one of the rare times tonight Austin Reeves has gotten space to get by Williams, who's done a really good job on him tonight.
And that's Bryce Williams, 3rd. We've got Cade Cunningham and Austin Reeves, the 2 leading scorers, number 1 and number 2 in the Big 12. They have not even yet combined for 10 points in tonight's game.
Well, you got one guy who's coached 5 different schools to NCAA tournaments, and the other guy who's a rising star. So even in the course of 48 hours, Bob, again, adjustments to make sure those guys on each side don't hurt your team.
Cunningham again double teamed and throws it along the baseline. Reeves read it and got the steal. Harkless left alone at the free throw line, knocks it down.
Nice patience by Elijah Harkless, the transfer from Northridge, who has become a mainstay for Lon Kruger.
That's how you set a record at Oklahoma State for shooting percentage, and that is the pace that Caleb Boone is on. If you don't miss, there's a pretty good chance you're going to set the record.
I'd say 7 of 7 will help that record. What do you think?
Manek to the corner. Moja Gibson.
They got to space it a little better.
Reeves again to Gibson. He'll float one up. Tipped by Manek, and it won't go. And here's Anderson. Throws it right to Harkless. Harkless crosses over. Score the basket plus the foul for the X factor for Oklahoma. Elijah Harkless does it again.
Does this remind you of Kansas's Marcus Garrett? Take a look. We told you he's a dirty work guy. Here comes the outlet pass. Watch him jump the lane and then finish to the basket. When you look at this league and you think of guys like Garrett and Osa Boyan and Mark Vital, throw this guy in there because he does Oklahoma's dirty work.
He's got 4 points now, but he also has 4 rebounds and 3 assists. And on Saturday, 10 points, 4 assists, 5 steals. It just, he always seems to have that checking every box score line.
Well, and he's doing a great job defensively tonight. Look at these hands.
Steal by Gibson. Harkless leaves it for Reeves. Oklahoma's got the lead back.
How about Austin Reeves just lighting it up? Good flip behind by Harkless. Didn't run anybody over. Let's see if they can crowd the lane again. Watch them double team a little bit there.
Cunningham kicks it out. And there's a buried 3 that gives us our 8th lead change as Bryce Williams does it again.
And that's so reminiscent of Saturday when Cade Cunningham got loose and found Reeves opposite.
Brady Manek this time will drive it and score.
Oh, this is a good sign for Oklahoma heading into the end of the season to see Brady Manek playing the way he's playing tonight.
Williams and Harkless both end up on the deck. And it looks like we've got Harkless called for the foul. A surge from the Sooners. That's coming up. Well, there are several examples of this in college basketball this year, but none better than Oklahoma, coming from nowhere to being a 4 seed, as Joe Lunardi projects it right now. Back on January 8th, Oklahoma was projected by Joey Brackets to not even make the NCAA tournament. But in January, they became the first team since 1974 to beat 4 top 10 teams in the same month. And much, Fran, like the Alabamas and Michigans of the world, and they have just rocketed up the top 25 poll. and they got as high as number 7. A loss to Kansas State knocked them back outside of the top 10, but this is an Oklahoma team I would think that is very dangerous come March Madness.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. Those 7 losses, 5 by 5 points or less, and 4 to top 10 teams. So they don't have a bad loss on their schedule, and it's just indicative of what we've seen in the league this year, and that is all of these teams can make noise in March. Let's see if Reeves can exploit the mismatch.
Shot fake, and he kicks it back outside to Harmon, who knocks down a 3.
Well, that's great patience by Austin Reeves. He came to that 1-2 stop in the lane, didn't travel, and a good kick out. Davion Harmon continues to stay red hot. Well, Jalen Hill guarding Cunningham now. There's the crowd.
And there's the foul.
Yep. Now this time, now you've got the switch of the big on Reeves, so he's going to exploit it, take him downhill, but watch him be under control. Pivot, pivot, kick out, and then knocks it down. Harmon with a good delivery from behind the arc. Really well done.
But what's more surprising, Cade Cunningham only has 2 points, or that he's only taken 3 shots? Well,
you know what's interesting, Bob? They actually, this season, when he takes 13 shots or less, they're 11-1. Now, 3 shots is a little bit overdoing it, I think. But remember, down the stretch of this game, he has no problem taking over. I'm anxious to see how this future NBA star takes over the last 9 minutes.
There's Reeves. He hits a 3.
How about this guy? He's got, I'll tell you, he's had just about as good a year statistically as Cade Cunningham have. Both have had 40 in the game.
Cunningham misses. Manek rebounds.
Let's watch the ball screens now.
Reeves can't do it this time. And Cade Cunningham has the rebound.
Look at that attention. Somebody's open.
Bryce Williams leans in, too strong. Offensive rebound, Moncrief.
Well, we haven't said Emily Moncrief's name a lot tonight, but he is an excellent offensive rebounder for a freshman. Young man out of Toronto, the same school, Orangeville, that produced guys like Jamal Murray.
Reeves this time doesn't miss the dunk.
Wow. If you haven't seen Austin Reeves this year, you're missing a treat. This guy has swag.
Cunningham. He'll go back to the free throw line.
Now take a look. You're talking 6'5". They think they've got a switch. There's the switch. Nope, it's a bad switch, and he gets to the rim. So there we go. Take a look. This is the game within the game. He exploits the defense. He's just waiting to see who he's going to attack. That time it was the big guy. He gets to the basket. You know, Bob, this young man, his dad, Brian Reeves, played at Arkansas State, but his dad grew up in Kokomo, Indiana, and in 1989 actually played in the Indiana State Championship game against, you ready for this, Lawrence North High School and Eric Montrose. And so, yeah, he's from Arkansas, but he's got a lot of Indiana in his game. Back to the zone to keep Reeves from driving.
Manek double team. Emoji Gibson hits a 3.
If you're going to play them zone, you got to know where Gibson and Manek are. And they played the zone to guard Reeves, but Lon Kruger makes him pay.
Moncrief stuffed underneath the rim.
Oh, he's got Manek.
Reeves to Manek, allows the flyby. That one's a brick, though. Cade Cunningham, this time trying to force the issue, finds a trailer. And he'll get it back. Cunningham spins, leans in, gets the roll for his first field goal with 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go.
Guess what time it is, Bob? It's that time. It's game time. There's the zone. It's a 1-1-3. Better know the shooters.
Reeves penetrates. The finger roll won't go. Here comes Cunningham. Trying to go coast to coast. Back-to-back buckets for Cade Cunningham. And it's a 1-point game.
Guess what time it is, Bob? Yep.
Hill tried to lob it to Manek. It was broken up by M.A. Moncrief. Cunningham. The extra pass out to the wing to Williams. He knocks down another three. 6 made threes in the game for Oklahoma State. Or check that, 5, and Williams has 3 of them.
Oh, yeah. The clock is not broken. It's Cunningham time. Down the stretch. Here we go. It's time.
Cade Cunningham with 40 on Saturday in a win. Only has 9 tonight, just recently scoring his first 2 field goals. And yet, Fran, a 2-point lead for Oklahoma State. Why?
I don't think it matters to Cade Cunningham whether he scores or not. This is a guy that is just concerned about winning. He won at Montverde Academy under Kevin Boyle, where, by the way, they'll have 4 first-round picks this year that he played with, 3 of them in him. He's just concerned about winning, and that's refreshing. In that sense, Bob, there's some LeBron in him, you know? He's looking to get his teammates going.
Umoja Gibson could not hit from the corner. A rebound to Caleb Boone.
Oh, watch Caleb Boone run. Great job.
Moncrief reverses it home.
I'll tell you, Moncrief got that basket because Caleb Boone ran the court. Manek had to guard him, and Moncrief snuck behind the defense. Look at this. Keelan Boone is guarding Reeves now at 6'9".
Harkless to Umoja Gibson. This time he doesn't miss, and it's a 1-point game.
Oh, he's not hesitating. He is not hesitating. 43% in Big 12.
Cunningham smoothly to the goal.
All you can say, Bob, is he knows it's time.
Reeves double team.
Good help. Yep.
Manek to Harkless. He's got it. 13 made threes for Oklahoma, and they've got it tied at 70.
And I think Boynton will live with that. They took the ball out of Reeves' hands. That was what we call a short roll by Manek. He didn't roll to the basket. He rolled into the open area.
Keelan Boone has it stripped away. Davion Harmon hands it off to Reeves, and a chance for Oklahoma to take the lead back.
See the double team. Where's the open man?
Harkless goes at Cunningham. Gives it up. Reeves left alone for 2. Caleb Boone, a toe tap along the end line to avoid stepping out. Stayed inbounds. Kept his heels up off the court. And Oklahoma State with a chance to retake the lead.
They're trying to put those black jerseys in front of Cade. He's 6'8", so he can find the open man.
And it's Moncrief who leans in, and he will be at the free throw line when we come back. Under 4 minutes to go. Another Bedlam classic.
I think this.
Bob Wischusen, Fran Fraschilla. Our group will bring you every one of the games that take place at the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. And if the tournament started today, First of all, you'd have a ranked team playing a play-in game in Texas Tech. And then what a quadruple header we will have for you in the quarterfinals, including what could be Bedlam Chapter 3 if form holds.
But, Bob, yeah, that's going to be great. But Kansas, Texas, are you kidding me? Texas, the 6th seed, who can go to a Final Four. It's crazy. We've been around this league for a while, and on occasion, 6 teams or 7 go into the tournament, and they're 9 seeds, they're 10 seeds. You know they're not going to make a lot of noise. This is a rare occasion where all 7 of these teams heading to the postseason can literally get to the Sweet 16.
You've got 7 Big 12 teams ranked inside the top 18. And 2 of them going head-to-head here. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Bedlam, a 2-point game, 3.5 minutes to go. Harkless with a bounce pass. Harmon for the lead. And the rebound to M.A. Moncrief.
That shot was a little strong, but a good look by Harmon. Good drive and kick.
Caleb Boone goes right at Manek. Reeves saves it.
Good hustle play by Reeves. Made sure he didn't, even though he was underneath the Cowboy basket, he looked for an outlet. He found one.
Umoja Gibson in the mid-range. Offensive rebound, Manek. Outside to Harmon for 3. That won't go. Manek, another try, and he draws a foul. Another hustle play by Brady Manek, who has had arguably his best game of the season on this stage. ESPN 6. Big 12 now on ESPN+. It's a must-have for Big 12 fans. Tomorrow, number 15 Texas takes on Iowa State. TCU takes on number 18 Texas Tech, both at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And Thursday, 6th-ranked West Virginia hosts TCU at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. If you're a Big 12 fan, you got to have it. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now in this craziest of Big 12 seasons. The Bedlam Series summary, you could call it Bedlam almost this entire league, but Cade Cunningham's 40 gave Oklahoma State a 4-point overtime win on Saturday. Tonight, Brady Manek, 20 points for only the 2nd time this season. The first time he had 20 was in the opening game against Texas San Antonio. So, Fran, he has picked quite the stage to ring the bell for 20 for the 2nd time this year. And now it looks like a foul on the inbound. Might be going against Oklahoma State. Let's see. Or was a timeout called?
Maybe timeout, Bob.
Looks like a timeout was called.
Yeah, couldn't get it in. And this is interesting because we're going to find out right now what Mike Boynton's going to do defensively. Lon Kruger had something set up. They didn't run it well, and they had to burn one of the 2 timeouts. The cat and mouse game right now for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State on Sooners' offensive end is, will Mike Boynton continue to mix the zone and the man to keep Austin Reeves off balance? Because they've done a pretty good job of keeping him out of the lane tonight, even though he's got 16, 6, and 4. Now they're going man.
The lob into Manek. Hands it off to Reeves.
Watch the pick and
Two-man
pop.
game. And it's kicked, it looks like. Out of bounds off of Bryce Williams.
And that is a sneaky great play by Bryce Williams, because they had the pick and pop. And that's why deflections are important. That was not a turnover, but because he kicked it, he took away Manek's ability to maybe pick and pop 3. There's the switch. Big on little.
Reeves for 3. Too strong. Loose on the deck. Manning. Manek tries to tie up, and it looks like he will tie up Walker. So Oklahoma State with the arrow will get the basketball. But another hustle play by Brady Manek.
Now on this end, it's going to be Cade Cunningham. The key now for Oklahoma is how much individual attention do you put on him, and if you bring the double off these ball screens, can he find one of his open teammates. We know the answer, but now it's a matter of executing. Here's the double.
And in the post, it's Boone. Rolls it home.
Okay, advantage Oklahoma. Cade on the double and threw it inside. And what we've seen tonight from Boone is 8 for 9 in the low post.
Davion Harmon scoops and scores. And an official's timeout. That means the crowd at Gallagher-Iba not happy, because normally, even off a made basket, Oklahoma State likes to push and maybe get down the floor and see if they can get an open look in transition. And the officials took that opportunity away by calling time on their own.
Again, Bob, let's keep watching that Sooner defense. On Saturday, all the one-on-ones led to Cade scoring 40 points. Tonight, down the stretch, they're showing hard and sometimes doubling. And remember, because of his size, he can find the open man. There's another example.
Williams down the lane, stripped away by Manek. Harkless tries to go at Cunningham.
What a block
by Boone, takes it away.
What a block by Caleb Boone with 4 fouls. It looked like Harkless got to the rim, but that's the big man running the floor.
1 minute to go. Cunningham for 3. In and out. A back tap by Keelan Boone. Harkless dives and draws a foul.
Let's go back to this great hustle play. Watch Boone now. He's going to come into your picture out of nowhere. This is what we call the unknown runner. The big guy that will run the floor, never knowing whether he's going to be involved in the play. And then there's the foul. Unfortunately, only the 16th foul for Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma still has a foul to give. 50 seconds to go.
There's Boone.
Reeves turns it over. Bryce Williams takes it away. Lobs one. Reeves tries to break it up at the rim and fouls Boone.
This ball slipped out of Austin Reeves' hands, but give Cade, watch this. He's going to try to pass it, and he loses his footing because he thought he had the backdoor cut. And that was great defense by Caleb Boone, and he almost made a circus catch on the other end.
Caleb Boone, first trip to the line at 65% on the season.
I don't know, Bob. I think we might be playing more basketball soon.
We know how those guys
not
feel.
Over.
That is bedlam personified. It went to overtime on Saturday. Oklahoma State won by 4. It's a one-possession game with Oklahoma State on top by 3 with 37.7 seconds to go. Bob Wischusen and Fran Fraschilla, what a way to end our Big Monday schedule as we head towards Champ Week. And we get more of this next week when the Big 12 tournament invades Kansas City. And we still have great Big 12 games the rest of this week as well. You and I get to call Baylor, West Virginia tomorrow.
Yeah, we're spoiled, Bob. It's been an amazing year in this league. 7 teams are heading to the tournament. These 2 teams can make noise, and so impressed tonight with just the back and forth, the adjustments by both coaches and both teams. And you saw Cade Cunningham get 40 on Saturday. We know he doesn't need to score tonight. He's done a fabulous job of looking for his teammates, and Austin Reeves on the other end delivering for Lon Kruger.
For Lon Kruger, where does a three-point shot figure into what you want to draw up, and how greedy do you get with this much time on the clock?
Well, what you want to do right now is, I think you can get to the rim fairly easily because Oklahoma State does not want to foul. So if you can cut this lead to 1 with this much time, then you can play the press, trap, and foul game and make Oklahoma State make their free throws. If you can get an open look for particularly Manek or Gibson, then they're going to let it fly. There's going to be no hesitation. You just don't want to take a contested bad three. For Cowboys now, what you don't want to do is foul a three-point shooter. A lot of time left. Mike Boynton is very comfortable playing man or zone. He's got the good fastball, and his zone is a pretty good curveball. It looks like
to
man.
Reeves.
Yep.
Half minute to play. Reeves to Manek in the corner for the tie off the heel. The long rebound is run down in the corner by Walker. Gets it to Cunningham. And now Oklahoma has to foul.
Well, they got the shot they wanted. They've run this a lot. They put Manek on the block. They screen in for him, and he got a really good look in the corner. So they went for the 3-ball. And Brady Manek, who's had a really good night tonight, 20 points. Take a look now. Watch Manek on the block. There's going to be a go screen, a screen in, and you can't get a better shot than that. You got to live with that. It's a shot he will make, assuming that we go forward and he's back to the Brady Manek we remember.
That's a big one. Cade Cunningham makes it a 4-point game. Timeout called by Mike Boynton. Each team down to 1 timeout remaining. The arrow belongs to Oklahoma, but now they need 5 in the last 17+ seconds.
Watch that huddle right there. Watch Mike Boynton. What he did was he had 3 timeouts in his pocket, and he had them all going into the final minute. The last possession, while he gave up a good shot, he got his defense set. He's doing the same thing right now. And again, we haven't said it much tonight because this game's gone back and forth, but what a job. The kid from Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn, Bishop Loughlin High School, South Carolina, playing for Eddie Fogler and Dave Odom. What a job he has done in Stillwater.
What a job the young man from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Caleb Boone, has done tonight. He is our player of the game, brought to you by Phillips 66. 1 miss from the field, 17 points and 9 rebounds. Down to 15 seconds to go. Davion Harmon. He will drive it around Cunningham. Can't get it to go. Tipped around Reeves. Flips one up and in, plus the foul. And it's not over yet. Oh, that's a bedlam kind of play by Austin Reeves.
Yep. He flipped it up and spun it off the glass. Take a look now. Watch the 7'2" wingspan by Cunningham, and watch Reeves right here. Proper hand development, PhD right there. Good spin off the glass. There's the drive, the challenge, and watch Reeves. He's lurking, and then he just gets it up. Little English like Willie Mosconi. The chance to cut it to 2.
And he's the best free throw shooter in the Big 12.
All right, press and foul right away. Yep, foul right away.
Well, they got it into the right guy. Just after the second leading scorer in the Big 12 completes the old-fashioned three-point play. A smart team gets it to the right player, because Cade Cunningham not only is the leading scorer in the Big 12, but a big reason why he's 85% at the line.
Well, he loves these situations. That much we've seen in his 1 season in Stillwater. He loves the pressure. Oklahoma just needs 1 miss. And remember, this is the 1-and-1.
Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt is on deck.
The next one will be easier, Bob. He rattled that one in. This one will likely be a swish. 6 seconds. If there's a miss, look for Reeves to go coast to coast. And Lon Kruger's going to use that final timeout.
And is this a spot for Mike Boynton to say to his team, if for some reason Cade Cunningham misses this free throw, we want to foul?
It depends on what Mike Boynton's philosophy is. Okay, now if they're going to foul, I'm going to assume, since they play the last 4 minutes every day in practice, that they have practiced fouling, and the foul has to come somewhere in the half-court area, because then you're in danger of fouling on a three-point attempt. Some coaches will say to their team, we're switching everything, but given this circumstance where a miss is going to come off and they're not going to take it out of bounds, I would absolutely foul right here. And I would think, knowing Mike Boynton and watching them practice, they have practiced how to foul, where to foul, and when to foul.
Well, what a Super Tuesday triple header we have for you on ESPN and the app. Tomorrow, Fran and I lucky enough to kick this off at 5 Eastern. Number 3 against number 6, Baylor and West Virginia. And then number 4 meets number 2, Michigan and Illinois. And then at 9, Kentucky at the Pavilion in Oxford, squaring off against Ole Miss. That is your Super Tuesday triple header beginning at 5 Eastern tomorrow. Well, for this to work out for Oklahoma, they need an 85% free throw shooter to miss one here to give them a chance. There's the switch, Fran. It's not to be for OU, you would think.
Right now, if you're Oklahoma State, you just don't foul. Just back up, retreat, make them shoot a tough shot. Do not go near a three-point shooter.
Here's Davion Harmon for 3. That's off the mark. And that will end it. Oklahoma State in overtime on Saturday, won by 4. Oklahoma State tonight does it again. They sweep Bedlam and they win 79-75 at home. Hopefully we get to see these two teams do this all again in Kansas City. We'll see. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire crew, I'm Bob Wischusen. Time for SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt.